Okay, good morning class. So today we're looking at exponential functions and log functions, okay? So in our last lesson we looked at sketching the log graphs, okay? We looked at these two log graphs. So today we're going to look at the next part, the next section. Okay? Log graph and the inverses. Okay. Now in our previous lesson we looked already at the inverse of a log graph, and we said the inverse of the log graph is your, what's the inverse of a log graph? Exponential. What's the inverse of an exponential graph? Log graph. That's the only time you apply logs. Okay? Not when you're drawing straight lines or parabolas. So today in this lesson we're going to look at example on page 55. And it's for exercise 5 on page 56. Okay. Okay. So if the inverse of an exponential function is a log function, then the inverse of a log function is an exponential function. Okay, that's what I'm telling you the past couple of minutes. The work examples, we're looking at number 1. If f of x is equal to x base 3, find the inverse in the form of y equals. Right. So if f of x is equal to y, which is equal to log x base 3, we know f of x is a y. This is making it easier to put f of x equal y equals that. Okay. So what do we do for the inverse function? What do you do for the inverse? We interchange x and y. So what will the equation now read? X is equal to log y base 3. So we're going to convert that to your exponential function. So this will simply be, therefore, y is equal to 3 raised to the exponent x. And this is your inverse function. Okay. Is there any confusion at this point? Alright. So if I should draw this graph quickly, it wasn't required for you to draw it. But if I draw it quickly, where do I start? I'm going to start drawing this graph first. Not so. Why do I start there? It's easier. Okay. Easier to work with. So we go x and y, minus 1, 0 and 1. That will give you a third, 3, so third 0, a third 1, and 3. So if we draw, we go minus 1, 0 and 1. The question was, where does this minus 1, 0 and 1 come from? Because we know that the graph is either increasing or decreasing. We just find out these values and then from there we draw our graph. Okay, so it's just a guide for us. Otherwise we must memorize all these characteristics and things like that. Okay, so it just makes life a bit easier. So that's going to give you, that's 1 and 1, 2 and 3 on top here. So that is 1, 3. So there's minus 1, 0 and 1. So there's 1, 2, 3. So negative 1 corresponds with the third, 0 with 1, and 1 with 3. We also note that I at least write the coordinates of one point on the graph. Otherwise the other one is your y-intercept. Can you see that, people? What do I do for the inverse function? This is actually your inverse function. But what do I do for the function? Interchange x and y. So a third become negative 1 and a third becomes a third and negative 1. 0 and 1 becomes 1 and 0. and 1 and 3 becomes 3 and 1. So there is that graph. Okay. Do you guys understand? No, it's fairly simple. Let's look at number 2. Number 2, we are given y is equal to log x base a quarter. So what do I do first to work out the inverse function? Which I interchange x and y. You always will see me write your the word inverse on the side here to indicate that I'm doing the swap at that point. Okay. Kelsey, you're concentrating too much, your eyes is closed. Okay. So what we have? X is equal to log y base a quarter. We make y the subject of the formula, so y is equal to a quarter raised to the exponent. Yes. A quarter. They will give you the. Okay. Because you're going to lose your marks everywhere, many other places. So we tend to give it to you. Okay. But don't leave it out on purpose and expect us to give it to you. So this is your inverse function. You all agree with that, people? What makes this a function? Passes the vertical line test. Okay. Unele, look here. Okay. So where we start, the question is not to draw the graph. I'm going to draw it for you anyway. So we start off by drawing the exponential graph. Why do we start off by using drawing the exponential graph? It's easier to work with. Not so. So x is minus 1, 0 and 1. So minus 1 gives you a corresponding value of 4. 0 with 1 and 1 with 4. Okay. So what we do is, let's pull that thing. Let's draw. That is y. X minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Minus 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Minus 1, minus 2. You see, it's all by approximation. Okay, you see, I didn't use a ruler or anything like that. Okay, you go up, you use your line spaces in your books, and you go to the side, you use maybe a centimeter, whatever. Okay, or something to that effect. Okay, so let's draw the exponential graph, which is the inverse function. If x is minus 1, y is 4. So I put minus 1 and 4 there. 0 and 1. 1 and a quarter. So what you notice is that the graph decreases much faster than the other one. Okay? But it's still a decreasing function. Can you see that? That is your inverse. So let's look at the function. So what we do for the function, we interchange x and y. Not so. So the negative 1 and 4 becomes 4 and negative 1. Again, I write the point down. 0 and 1 becomes 1 and 0. And then 1 and a quarter becomes a quarter and 1, which is there. So there is that graph. And that is your function. And this is always reflected in the line. Y is equal to? People say any confusion here? Simple mathematics. Okay? He's laughing because as he says, all the maths is simple. Okay? People, with that you should be able to do exercise 5. Okay? So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to do the last one now as well. So, but I'll stop this video. If you want the full lesson, you'll find it in the description box below.